time is it? 9:56 a.m. Think about that. John Singleton. Who would want to think about that, huh? Think about that. John Singleton? Really? Like, seriously? John Singleton, people. The movies of our youth. Who is next? Spike Lee. Who is next? Spike Lee? Is Spike Lee next? John Singleton. I mean, this is, in the last 5 years, we have lost so much. Hey, Tanisha, girl, you've been on my mind. Tanisha Johnson, are you hearing me? You've been on my mind. Inbox me or something. You've been on my mind a lot. So I don't know. Talk to me. Okay? You've been on my mind. I don't know. You know how I am, right? I just feel it and I say it. So inbox me. I'll give you my number and call me. Okay? But I don't know. Maybe something is going to come through me when I do talk to you. So Tanisha Johnson, if you're hearing me, inbox me so I can give you my number. Okay? But I am like, it's Monday morning and I am like trying to, something wrong with my sound. Oh, you can't hear me? Are you kidding? I don't know. You can't hear me. Hey, can't hear me. Something wrong with my sound. Okay, we're going to try to fix it. Let's see what it is. My microphone should be on. Yep, it says it's on. Can you hear me now? That says my microphone is on. Can you still hear me? If you can't hear me, let me know, because I don't know. But it says my microphone is on. So unless it says it's totally on, I'm using HD speakers here. So it's saying, oh, well, it's saying that it is what it is. Yeah, it's saying that it's on. That's the sound that says my microphone is engaged. So if you still can't hear me, I don't know. I hate that. But the good news is I'm streaming at youtube.com. So if you miss it, I'm also on Twitter. So if you have the YouTube app on your phone, which is on most phones, just click on it and look for me, Harriet Kamek, and you can find me on YouTube, right? Yeah. So I'm a little bit taken aback because I'm getting ready for the show and I see this thing that, can you hear me go? Oh, I fixed the sound. The sound is still not working. You still can't hear me. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to fix the sound for you. Hang on. You're going to get the sound in a minute. Hang on 1 second. You'll be able to hear me. And then you're going to say you can hear me, right? So I'm going to do a Verizon commercial. Hang on. Oh, there we go. We're coming. Having a little technical difficulties this morning. I don't know. We used a different interface, so you know how that can be. Come on. There we go. So you'll be able to hear me in just a second. Just hang on 1 second. And I'm alone today. This had to happen on the day I'm alone, right? All right, there we go. Here we go. Loading. Takes a while. Aren't you guys amazed at this technology stuff? How they profess to do all the stuff they do, and when you really need them to work, sometimes they're slow like this. Finally. All right. So let me know if you can hear me now. All righty. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? And I'm waiting for the page to load. Can you believe this? Can you hear me now? Facebook. So there we go. Can you hear me now? Oh, Lord, help me, Jesus. This is not the morning. Can't get a cursor to work. What is wrong? I kid you not. I'm beginning not to be a fan. I haven't been a fan of Facebook in a while. Oh, Jesus. Can you work? Oh, wow. Well, you should be hearing me now anyway. So I've opened Facebook and another interface. Yes, loud and clear. Okay, lovely. All right. So if Tanisha Johnson is hearing this, I don't know if she probably left when she couldn't hear me. I asked her to, she's been on my mind. So I told her to inbox me and let me know if she can, I'll give her my number, right? So we lost some people. All righty. So it's Monday morning and I have my sexy librarian look going on. Don't y'all like that? My sexy librarian look, who is loving it, right? So don't judge me. I'm 52, so my eyes are no longer 25. Although I believe I'm forever 28. So let me know. I'm telling you, the honest truth is there's just too much stuff going on because this morning was one of those mornings I was getting ready for the show, and you know how it is. You kind of are just getting ready. I still have the TV on in the background. It hasn't made CBS News yet, but it's amazing to me. Just a few weeks ago, I was scrolling on my Instagram feed and I saw a notification to pray for John Singleton. I think it was last week. And they didn't say why. They just said to pray for him. Well, a couple days later, uh, I learned that he had had a stroke of some sort. And it was amazing. You know, it was because he was only 51, and these things happen to anyone, lifestyles, whatever. Anybody can get sick at any time. When it's your number, it's your number. When it's your time, it's your time, right? And honestly, we couldn't have, thank you. We couldn't have I couldn't have had it better. I mean, seriously, John Singleton, he made the movies of the 90s, the movies of my youth, the 90s. Remember those? Boys in the Hood. Anybody remember that one, right? Poetic Justice. Poetic Justice was a movie for me that just spoke of everything that celebrated Black culture and celebrated talent of Blacks that never got a platform and never got an opportunity to explore because of racism and because of standardized, institutionalized racism. Most black actors and actresses who were just equally as talented just never got a chance to expose their talent and to use their gift. I say this to my folks all the time, to my children, right? That make no mistake about it, the system and the society wants you to believe that because you are not white, you have no talent and you can't do the same things that anyone else can do. And I've told my children over and over again, it's an attack. It's designed to belittle you and dehumanize you into thinking that you are less of a human being. Consequently, people are fearful of stepping into their greatness and fearful of stepping out. And so you think that, well, only certain groups of people can do certain things. Only certain groups of people can become president. Only certain groups of people can write books. Only certain groups of people can act in films. Only certain groups of people, la, la, da, di, da, di, da. And I've told my children to ignore that because that is societal, endemic, institutionalized racism that is designed to push you down further. And so if you sit there all the time and you look at television and you look at the movies, if all you see are people who are white, if all the accomplished people, the people who become lawyers, justices, judges, the people who become prosecutors, the people who become CEOs of companies, if all you see are white, then after a while, you as a person of color sit there and say, they must be special. They must just all be smart. And they must all, that's why they achieve. It is wrong. If the college scandal taught you nothing else, it shows you the extent to which people will go to perpetuate that myth. Because a lot of people are sitting back thinking, well, it's because they're white why they're so smart and they get into these colleges. No, people cheat and lie. And then there is institutional racism that if a white applicant, a black applicant apply, the person who is most likely to get in is the white person. I'm saying all of this to give you some background on what we're going to talk about this morning so that you know that what you are doing, if you are not getting acclaim and if you're not being recognized, it's not about you. It's not you, the person. It's about what you are and who you are and what you represent. They don't want you to succeed because they don't want you to succeed. They want to keep the opportunities within themselves. Plus, the current crop of people living today, they're gonna realize that you now realize that their ancestors were wicked and racist and wrong for telling you for centuries that you could never have anything. Thus, you might open a case of reparations. So the system is designed to keep you down. The system is designed to continue to perpetuate the myth of racism, that only certain groups of people are smart and only certain groups of people can succeed. Are you hearing me? So you have to know within yourself. So what people like John Singleton did, they stepped out of the mold and made movies so people like Ava DuVernay today can come forward. If there hadn't been a John Singleton, if there hadn't been a Spike Lee, Ava DuVernay would not exist, because it inspired her and pushed her to know that it can be done. And you yourself are an inspiration. You have to push yourself and get out from under this negative, stinking thinking thing that they want us all to believe, that they want you to believe. Somebody said it like this. Let me tell you like this. It's almost as if, I was saying to some folks the other day, they want you to believe that you need their permission to be good at what you do. As for me, that obviously, that does not work for me. I don't need anyone's permission, because I believe that I have been called by God. I was created by the creator of the universe to do what I do. I don't need anyone's permission. Years ago, I was part of a large church, and I had set up in walking in my calling. I had set up I got a guy, set up a website. I was getting ready. I had published my first book, was getting ready to step into my projects, launching radio and launching my other books. And I went to the pastor of the church to notify him that I had set up a website, but it's not in competition with his ministry. Do you know what he said? What do you think he said? He said, "Who told you you could set up a website?" I was so shocked. I didn't know what to say. I said, "Excuse me?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I didn't know I needed your permission to be me." And he said to me, he said, "Nobody else would ever come to the bishop and say that. You can go ask him." And I said, "Well, I guess you never met Harriet Kimmock, because I don't need your permission." But do you see what I mean? It's almost as if it is going to be very difficult for you to find somebody in your group who is going to tell you it's okay. I don't know if Tanisha Johnson got my message. Has she joined me back again? I don't think so. Tanisha Johnson, if you're listening, inbox me, right? But do you see what I mean? It's almost as if people want to say that you need their permission to be great. You need their permission to do what you do. That's not true. My friends, that's not true. The only permission you need is from the creator of the universe. You just need to know if God is with you. And if God is with you, like the songwriter says, if you got King Jesus, then you don't need nobody else. A lot of what these folks have taught us, people like Singleton and Spike Lee, is that sometimes the road to greatness is that you walk it alone. You are alone. You end up being alone. And if you are not prepared to be alone, that there are going to be very few people beside you, you're not ready for this, because you can't get there with a crowd, because everybody else, you end up being a crowd pleaser. And if you're a crowd pleaser, you're never going to walk and do anything great. You might make a film, and there are many filmmakers. There have been many people who have made films, but there was only one John Singleton. There was only one Spike Lee. You know why? Because they had to push beyond the barriers of being a crowd pleaser. Now, a crowd pleaser is a funny thing, because there are plenty of ways that you please the crowd. You listen to the people who tell you, do this, do that. Are they qualified opinions? You have to start qualifying those opinions. Are they qualified to tell you what to do? For many of us, guess what? It ain't so. Do you see what I mean? And so for a lot of people, for a lot of people, what happens is they lose their focus, right? They tend to think that, man, I am just, I am here and I am just like this person. No, 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 no. Very clear in what you have to do. One of the things that helped me was I defined my purpose early on. I learned to define my purpose. I accepted that it was not going to be popular. I was disappointed when some folks, especially my family members, I thought they would have supported me, but I was not disappointed with the crowd. Now, one of the things I did not expect was that my own people, Black people, would have supported me. I was disappointed with that. And I felt like, but you choose. So then I learned a lesson that people choose, people choose whom they want to support, because they were supporting others who did the same thing as I did. And people who all of a sudden, when I stepped out, a whole bunch of people stepped out. All of a sudden, everybody was an author. All of a sudden, everybody was going to do this. Where were you all before? Maybe I'm a trailblazer. Maybe it was just something I kept focused and kept pushing and pushing and staying ahead of the game, just trying to do what I was called to do. So I looked at it from the point of view that maybe I was a trailblazer, but they were doing this, mimicking the same things I did. Now, when I stepped out, they didn't support me. But that could have been because I was doing exactly what they felt they could have done, but they didn't have the courage to do. And suddenly there I was doing it. So now it's okay to jump on the bandwagon. More power to me. What I did was I kept moving. I had to find new ways. I had to be innovative. It taught me, I had to go deep into myself, be innovative, make connections, and try to be the best version of myself that I could be. Are you listening to me? So at all times, I am trying to reflect and I'm trying to promote the very best version of myself that I can be. Well, on some days I failed. Like today, I'm dressed rather casually. My t-shirt says, I hate running. Right. Actually, I don't. I really enjoy running. That's my favorite form of exercise. But this is not the best version of myself. No, because I'm not really dressed up. I'm barely wearing makeup. It's not the best version of myself. But am I here mentally? Yep. And that's the focus. When you show up, make sure that you are there mentally and emotionally. And distractions come all day, every day. I mean, stuff comes at you to take your focus off what is important and what you should be doing. The thing to do is to have focus like flint and to keep it focused so that you get to where you ought to be. And what I have found is that there are so many voices and so many people around. There are so many people who just feel like they should be a part of you. There are so many people who want a piece of you. There are so many people who want to be with you. After a while, you have to say, wait, just a minute. Just hold on. Let me find out who you are and what you want and what you're going to do. And when I was growing up, my grandmother used to tell me, always put your best foot forward. She used to tell me that no matter what was going on with you, don't let it show. Don't let them see you sweat. Remember that saying, right? Don't let them see you fail, right? Don't let them see you saying something else. Thank you so much. Somebody is affirming me. Devin Mason, I love this. You look wonderful. You're the best version of yourself. Thank you. I don't need thank you. You're right on the money. Thank you. Right? But my grandmother used to tell me that no matter what was going on, always show up being the best. Right? So consequently, over my life, that became something that I stored within me. So when I show up anywhere, I make sure I do my research so I know what I'm going to talk about. Right? I make sure that I look the best, because when you look good, you feel good. And if you feel good, you perform well, and they're going to call you back and pay you, right? And I make sure that even in my personal relationships, even in my intimate relationships, I make sure that I present my best self. Now, I might have misread cues in personal relationships, and I'm just putting this out there as a disclaimer. There might have been people whom I thought had my best interest at heart, and, who I accepted their word that they loved and cared for me, only to find out that maybe they didn't, or maybe they had selfish thoughts. Yes. Maybe they were self-centered. Yes. But what I did learn, whatever negatives came my way, I took what I could from it and learned and move on. It's part of being the very best version of yourself. Sometimes people think that for some folks, being the best version of themselves, they go and do a ton of plastic surgery, and so the outlook is plasticized. I'm a firm believer that if I work from within and clean up what is within me, clean up my mind, my thoughts, my emotions, yes, clean up all the negativities, and make sure that I eat well, drink a lot of water, and so on, then that is going to be transformed and is going to be presented as the very best version of myself. I feel that I have a responsibility to my children first, my two daughters first, and to the public. And I want to say this and make it clear. Part of the reason I have to say this, I preach and I teach and I tell folks how to live. I feel that I have a responsibility to be the symbol of what I say. So one of the things I have told my children is don't sell yourself short. Don't just give yourself up to anybody who comes along. Don't just, I tell them, prize yourself. What you have is golden, so don't share it with everyone. That's kind of how I live my life, right? So I don't have, when most people are moving from one boyfriend to the other, you tend to see me alone most of the time. When you do see me go public with someone, that means I think that person is going to be in my life for some time, because I feel that sometimes people come into your life for a reason and a season, and it's not good for my image to be seen with Tom, then Dick, then Harry, then John, then Charles, then Matthew, then Brad. It's not good for my image. So if someone is going to be in my life, I examine them to make sure they're going to be here for the long term. So if you never see me with anyone, it's because I feel that they're not going to be here for the long term. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes people tend to think other things, but the truth is, I am that kind of, I use the same things I tell you to do is the same things I do. So I'm not going to be with anyone just because I feel lonely one night and I feel like I need someone to hug me up. No, I fill my bed with pillows. So if I need a hug, I grab my pillows. I have like about 12 pillows on my bed. So one side of my bed is just filled with pillows, and I'm good, because I'm not going to do what? Sell myself short. So the same standard that I have for myself, I hold my partner to the same standard. That there is a standard. Do I want you? Yes. Do I want him? Yes. Do I want him to be in my life? Yes. But you can't tell me you love me and do things that hurt me. That doesn't make any sense. You can't tell me you love me and you're not there for me. I am there for you. You are there for me. Do you see what I'm saying? So in the same way that I hold myself to a certain standard, I don't believe that I should be promiscuous. I think a woman has the right to sleep with whomever she wants to sleep with at any time, any number of people. That's her prerogative. As for me, I don't think that it is something that I should do. Do you see what I mean? I don't think it's something I should do. I think that I just need to be by myself and I just wait for the right person. No, if the right person doesn't show up, maybe it was never in the plan. Luckily for me, I've had my two children. I'm great. You see what I'm saying? I've learned to live with myself, and I'm fine and I'm good. I'm happy, right? So I have a whole plan for my life and it's fine with me. Now, that's not easy for a lot of people. And believe me, to get to this point, I had to go through a whole series of stuff. I had to have the worst relationships, and then I had to have mediocre relationships and bad relationships to find out. I mean, in my life, I have had permanent relationships, I think 3 times with people. Everybody else was just a date. Hey, how are you? No, we're not going. No. But have had 3, and they have ended disastrously. So that tells me that either something is wrong with my view or something is wrong with the people whom I'm choosing. So there's still some work to be done, right? So, because it is what it is. Do you see what I'm saying? So you're not going to see, I'm not the woman with my public image to go run from one to the other to the other. I've even put up with stuff that under normal circumstances I wouldn't have put up with just to see if, but people are different today. Men today are very different. They want different things from women. And I am not, unfortunately, I'm not 35 anymore. So I don't put up with a lot of stuff. If it is BS and baloney, it is baloney. And I will only put up with that for how long? and then it's over. Do you see what I'm saying? I want to be, in order for me to be the best version of myself, I can only surround myself with good people and positive people. And it's the same thing for everyone. I am not going to be the best version for you if I have negative relationships around me. It's not going to work. You're going to see it, and what's going to come out of me will be negative. So I don't. So, in keeping, and it's not healthy, friends, it is very important as we grow to understand how important it is for you to surround yourself with people who are on the same page, people who are on the same level as you are, and people who have your best interest at heart. And it's very difficult to know sometimes this truth. Just recently, we learned that the Duchess of Cambridge, I believe is her title, Prince William's wife, Kate. Just recently, we learned that she discovered that her husband had been cheating on her with her best friend. Imagine that. Now, the woman's best friend, Kate, Duchess of Cambridge's best friend, for her to be with them on a tour and to be in their circle, Kate gave her access, which meant that she had to pass the British government's security clearance to be in wherever Kate is, because Kate is a protected person, right? She is married to the next King of England. So she's going to be the next Queen of England. So around her is a tight circle. So she gave this woman access, not knowing that this wretch was about to stab her in the back by sleeping with her husband. It was so devastating when Kate learned that she left the tour with the children and went back to England. Do you see how important it is to surround yourself with good people? Now, honestly, this is her best friend. The girl is also married. So she thought that her best friend would never have done something like that. But she did. Sometimes, in as much as we try to protect ourselves from people, you can never, ever tell. You never, ever know. So what do? Are you going to be paranoid? Are you going to say, oh my God, I'm not going to surround myself with anybody because nobody can do this? No, you're not going to do that. What you're going to do is meet people and give them the benefit of the doubt. But at the same time, you're going to do what? Be astute, and you're going to observe. There is a saying that Prince Harry checks people when people try to come into his circle. He will tell them something about him to find out if they're going to pick up the phone and call the tabloids. So he tells them something to see if they're going to spread the rumor. When he doesn't hear it back from people whom he has set up, then he knows the person is genuine or not. I think some of us need to employ a little bit of that, right? We need to set, when people come into you, especially people who are trying to get close to you, find out what their agenda is, because they're going to impact your delivery. Best believe they affect you. There is nothing quite like you are getting ready to perform. If you're a performer, you're a singer, you're a speaker like I am, right? There's nothing quite like that when in your intimate circle, there is a fight prior to your performance. It affects you, right? It's going to affect the way you think. There's nothing quite like someone around you telling you that you are the worst person in the world and you can't do this and you can't do that, quite like it. So what I did was I made sure that the people who were going to come in my circle were people who were going to lift me up, were people who were going to inspire me, and people who are going to make me the best version of myself. Now, do I have checks and balances? You best believe. There are people around me, they are my checks and balances, right? So they're going to tell me, no, Harriet, that was not your best shot. That was not a good look. That was not, maybe you need to fine tune that a little bit. Maybe you need to re-examine how you say that. Those are what? Checks and balances. I don't need a group of yes men around me. That's for people who end up getting shelved eventually. If all you're surrounded by are people who continually tell you, yes, you're the man. Yes, you're the greatest. Yes, you're the best. You're going to fail, and they're not going to tell you, because their time in the sun, your shine, is dependent on you staying in the shine. So they're not going to tell you when you mess up. They're not going to tell you that something is wrong. So I surround myself with people who have checks and balances. They impose checks and balances on me. What they do is contribute to making me the best version of myself. And look at it this way. I look at it like I only get one opportunity, But just in case I missed it today, then I have tomorrow. So I'm going to go retool and see if when I go out to speak somewhere, sometimes it's a rousing ovation and sometimes it's just people, some people just, Either way, I'm a winner. Do you see what I mean? Either way, I'm still going to be as charming and I'm still going to be as effusive as anything. I'm not letting that impact me, right? But I do go home and think, maybe I examine myself. Did I meet my own standard? See, my problem is my standard. And I know we're not talking about relationships now, because personal, intimate relationships, because a lot of men say, well, it's your standards. I choose to be alone. I'm alone because I choose to. If I wanted to be with someone, I could have been with any Jack, but I don't do any Jack. I want to be loved and I want to be there. I have my own needs. I've been through hell. What I need is peace and honesty. Can I get that? If I get peace and honesty, I'm good. That means you're going to love me. Oh, Lord Jesus. Peace and honesty, man. Just be honest with me, right? I don't like cheaters. I don't like liars, right? But so when I go out, I listen to what people say, but then I go home and I'm like, how else can I do this better? If I make a presentation, I'm seeking donations, so I go to different people. I ask myself, what did I do wrong? What didn't they respond to, so I can go and fix it? Sometimes it's not that you do wrong. Sometimes it's that people are just not inclined to help you because of perception. I can't change your perception of me. You're going to look at me and you're going to judge me in spite of whatever I say. If I were to ask you individually right now, what do you think of me? What would you say? Good morning, Michelle. What would you say? If I were to ask you, what do you think of me? I'd be amazed what you think of me. And a lot of what you think of me is based on your perception of me, right? It doesn't mean it's true, but it is true to you. Do you see what I'm saying? So based on your perception, that's how you're going to act. In my field in nonprofit activism, one of the things I've come across is that Black women who come into this field, they look vastly different, right? They're very different. What I have found is that it is the bastion of white women. White women feel that this is their road to activism. So they control it. They don't want anybody else to come in the light. And then here I come. And you know me. Am I asking for their permission to be in that space? No. I was called to do this. So this is me sitting on the sidelines watching them. Sucks to be them, I guess, because guess what? I'm not going anywhere. My name is Jack Mitchell. I'm not any Jack. Right? But do you see what I mean? At all times, I present myself. No, I've failed. I've missed it. A couple of days ago, last Thursday, I was at a forum at Wayne State University. My intention going there was I was not a panelist. I was just going to support my friend, Elaine Flowers, who was supposed to be the panelist. So I wasn't going. I was not going to sit there. But before I left, I have this thing where I'm always to present myself in the best possible light. So it was kind of a rainy, cool evening, but I wanted to simulate summer. So I wore this long skirt, right? But I'm like, the minute you walk out, people are going to look at you. So I wore one of these things that cover, the back of you. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But I still wasn't, I had another event that evening. I was going to do my show. So I imagined that if I were going to be photographed, I had control over it. So I was going to tell them to just photograph me from the neck up, from the chest up, because I wasn't comfortable with how I looked at them. And then I went and showed up. And of course, I ended up being on the panel. Well, it's a good thing I wore the long skirt, because the way they had us seated, they didn't think of women who would be seated on the panel. They thought only of men. So we were on these high stools, like high off the ground like this. So if I had dressed as myself in a regular dress with heels, I would have had a problem climbing onto the stool, which would have made me look awkward, right? And I would have had a problem sitting. I would have had to sit and cross my legs in one position for 45 minutes in a chair without any back support. I was so glad I listened to myself and just said, you know what, just wear a long skirt and be done. Because it was either that or wear leggings and boots. And I felt like, well, it's kind of, I want to feel like I'm near summer. I made a mistake though, because it ended up being very cold that evening. But do you see what I mean? So I thought that I didn't present myself as my best version, but what I made up for it was in the words. I made sure that when it was my turn to speak, I made sure that I spoke clearly and delivered nonetheless. So at the end of the day, I said to myself, I was still presented as the best version of myself. Do you see what I mean? So at all times, be comfortable in yourself. You have to arrive at a point in your life where you are comfortable in your own skin. One of the things I've learned is that there's some things I cannot change. I cannot change my height. I can adjust it by wearing heels. I cannot change the way I was born, like my looks. I can't change that, but I can wear makeup. I can't change the color of my skin. I was born this way, so I can't do that. I can't change the color of my hair. I guess I could wear contacts, but I don't care about that. I love myself the way that I am. So what I had learned to do, I'm a woman. I was born in this gender, which means I am female, so I look like a female, right? So I work with this. So what I have done is I learned to live in my own skin. I am also from another country, so I sound different when I speak. My emphasis and the pronunciation of my words are very different from the prevailing culture. I have learned to accept myself in my own skin. In fact, I dated someone and I said to him, maybe you don't like being around me because I have an accent and I sound funny. I mean, they're American, they grew up in Detroit. He grew up in Detroit, so maybe his folks and his friends don't like the way that I sound. And he said, no, it's not that. There's nothing. He said, no, don't be silly. I said, well, I'm just asking. Because sometimes people react very differently when you are different. People react very differently when you come from outside of their normal experience. And because they don't know how, if they don't have the social skills to treat you and handle you the right way, and they don't know how to, they tend to do it wrong, which comes across as offensive. And then they're embarrassed because they realize they did something that offended you. Do you see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is, because so therefore, I don't worry about what someone else thinks. If it is okay with the creator to use me in this space, in this context, I'm okay with it. I can't change that. So I think most of us need to come to that place. We really, my standard is not based on someone else. So as a woman, I'm a woman, I'm ethnic, and I'm Black, right? My standard is me. My standard is not a white woman. My standard of beauty is not dependent on what some white woman looks like. My standard is me, right? So first I have to get past my standard. And you may look at me and say, wow, you're going to say it's something else, but you should look at it as empowering. She's empowered. Yes, I have to live with me. The problem that most of us have is that the society is telling us that the standard is based on what someone else looks like, someone else sounds like. You should sound like this. And so we mimic or imitate other people's mannerisms to make ourselves more acceptable in the environments that we navigate. Be you. If there's nothing that authenticates you, it's you. You in your own skin, in your own voice, show up and be you. You get a lot more done. You know why? You'll be supremely confident. The minute you have to take on someone else's persona and take on someone else's situation to be, that's the minute when you realize that you have lost the game. You have lost. Because now you have to think as someone else. You can't project, be you. Think about you. Everybody does this, I'm sure. Before you do anything, you practice and rehearse it. Well, practice and rehearse. I believe that I should communicate in a way that everyone understands or can hear me, whether they accept the delivery or accept the message. but you're not going to fault the delivery, right? You may not like it, but you're not going to, you see what I'm saying? And to me, sometimes being the best version of yourself is a challenge to others. Do you realize that? Yeah. Because when you show up to be you, to be unequivocally you, it's a threat to someone else. Because there might be someone else who is not as confident, you know it, who is not as sure, and they will try to rip you apart and tear you down. I can't begin to tell you how many times that happens to me. People say all kinds of things. Do I look like I care? I hear it. I keep it moving because my focus is to deliver. There is a standard. The standard is I have given you this. It's like the Great Commission. I have given you this to do. Go and do it. Have I encountered setbacks, obstacles? Yeah. Was the journey easy? By no means. Did I encounter people who thought this? Sometimes people are intimidated by you. I've come across that. Even people who have come close to you and declared that they are friends, they're intimidated by you because there's a strength about you. Listen to me very carefully. My friends, your confidence, we have been taught to underestimate the power of confidence. Yet, other people use confidence as their tool for empowerment and to get them where they want to be. But they tell you, don't be confident, that if you're confident, you're arrogant. The minute they tell me someone is arrogant, I look at the person saying that because that tells me that person lacks confidence. Because you don't know the difference between confidence and arrogance. A confident person is someone who, irrespective of what you think, they're going to do what they are told to do and what they feel they have been called to do. And they're not going to pay attention to the naysayers. But you know how a non-confident person looks at that? That as arrogance. No, that's not arrogance. I am confident, so I'm oblivious to naysayers and negativity. Can't let that affect me. I'm totally oblivious, but someone else who lacks confidence will say she's arrogant. Tough to be them. It sucks to be them, doesn't it? Because in order for you to do what you have to do what? Be confident. If you had to go in some of the environments that I have been in, I can't walk in there not knowing who I am. The last thing I need is to not know who I am. The last thing I need is not to know which voice is going to come out of me. The last thing I need is to have issues with my appearance or issues worrying about people thinking that I lack this or I lack that. I don't think like that. And you should not either. You should at all times view yourself as the best version of you there possibly could be. At all times, irrespective of what is going on. It could be that you just walked out of the doctor's office and they just told you you have 2 months to live. And they just told you there's nothing more they can do. Still walk out like a champion, a fight like David. Walk out like Goliath. Step with some pep in your step, right? Walk like a champion. Talk like a champion. Be the champion that you are called to be. It's time out for this negativity. Eliminate the negative naysayers around us. And look at it this way. Maybe today you didn't get to deliver, but what about tomorrow? Try tomorrow. Get up and try again. Sometimes we knock ourselves down, especially those of us who set the bar so high. I set the bar real high for me so that I constantly have to push myself. Sometimes I'm watching TV on my downtime. I'm watching Netflix or streaming or something like that. And I'm streaming. And sometimes I ask myself, is this, how many hours are you going to do this for? Is this necessary? What are you going to learn from this? You should be writing. You should be researching. You should be doing that. Constantly ask yourself, am I being the best part of me? Am I putting forward my best? Even when I'm raising my children, I ask myself, am I being the best parent? Last night, my daughter and I FaceTime each other. She's in her bedroom, y'all. And I'm in mine. So I wanted to talk to her. So I FaceTimed her. So I'm looking at her and she's looking and she's like, Mom, wow, your forehead though. Oh. So I said, yeah, but look what it did to you. You're here, right? I said, you're here. So she laughed and she said, we were talking about drinking, and it's, she says, Mom, where I grew up, she says, the mother who raised me did not give me pop to drink. She said, I didn't know what, when I went to my family's house or when I went to my friends' homes, I didn't know what Kool-Aid was, and I didn't know what fruit punch was, and I didn't drink juice that came out of a bottle. She said, I drank orange juice for breakfast, but we either drank water or Mom would make lemonade with sugar and lemon juice. She said that's all we knew as sugary drinks growing up. So this was when she said, she said, consequently, I don't have some of these issues that I see some folks are, some of my friends are having today. So when she said that, I kind of sunk down low and did this. So I said, I was just trying to be a good mother. And she said, no, you weren't trying to be a good mother. You were a good mom. Always, even in the little things, try to be the best that you can be. And are you going to fail? Is someone else's evaluation of you always going to be top notch? No. The evaluation of you that matters is, wait for it, yours. How do you walk away feeling about yourself? When a job has ended and they tell you they don't want you there anymore, your services are no longer needed, some of the most devastating words in the English language. I don't need you anymore is what it translates to. How do you feel walking away? Are you going to walk away beaten down, hang dog look on your face like you've lost everything, feeling like you have failed? No. You ought to walk away like a champion, thinking, I did my very best. And that will keep you during the tough times ahead. A marriage is over. They tell you they don't want you anymore. I don't like having sex with you anymore. You're not my need anymore. I don't love you anymore. I don't want you anymore. What do? As devastating as that is, after you've invested yourself in a relationship and in someone, and they tell you, I don't want you anymore. What do? Are you going to walk away hurt, beaten down? No, you're going to walk away like a champion. Similarly with relationships, even when raising your children. You might have done your very best. You worked 3 jobs. You stayed up all night in emergency rooms and sickness. And then your children tell you, you were not there for me. One time. You were not there one time. One time. Come on. And the one time you weren't there, that's all you need. In other words, what I'm saying is, self as your standard and surpass expectations. That's it. That's being the very best version of yourself. Understand that you're human. You're not perfect. You're never going to be the perfect wife, the perfect girlfriend, the perfect boyfriend, the perfect employee, the perfect CEO, the perfect boss, the perfect doctor, the perfect husband, the perfect best friend, the perfect brother, the perfect sister. You're never going to be. But you can try to be the best version of yourself. And that takes some work. Because first, you have to love yourself. You have to accept the skin you're in. Look, there are certain things I had to accept, like I've told you, I've had to accept about myself. I dropped out of college. Now, if having 2 or 3 degrees was going to be my standard for affirmation, I failed. That would have never, I would never have done anything. But that was not my standard. And truthfully, I've never been anywhere. It never, where people say, well, where did you study? Because it wasn't material to the work that I'm called to do. No, you need to be an engineer. Perhaps it is. But I'll tell you this, Google, Apple, IBM, go to cnbc.com. They have a whole list of companies that are hiring people without a 4-year degree. So I'm just putting it out there. Because what that has done is marginalized a whole group of people by saying you're not good enough. And what they're trying to do is to break down barriers. Because we have these standards that tell people, that marginalize people. And what it has done is create a whole nation of mentally unwell people. Because if all your life, all you're hearing is you're not good enough, you'll never be good enough, there's nothing good about you, what's going to happen later on when bad things happen? You're going to say, well, I was never good enough to begin with. I wasn't smart enough. I wasn't pretty enough. I wasn't slim enough. I wasn't brown enough. I wasn't black enough. I wasn't white enough. So now we're trying to break down all the barriers to eliminate those factors from preventing people from moving forward and becoming the best that they can be. Hey, Marcus, do you see what I'm saying? And so now you have to look at yourself. It's one of the reasons why there are some situations it enables you to walk away from very difficult situations. Because if you can be assured that you did your very best, then you're okay. Did I do my best? Was I the best possible version of myself that I could be? Then it's okay. You will come to peace with yourself. And so I say to you today, if this is your first time ever hearing this, then don't feel badly. You have tomorrow. Think on these things. Think on these things. And tomorrow, start again. I've had many do-overs in my life. Luckily, God is a God of second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth chances. I've had many chances. So each day I get an opportunity to continually improve myself, to continually be the best version of myself. And so what I do, I don't waste time in the negativity. It used to be honest with you, it used to really bother me. I used to think on the negatives that people said. And then I learned that what I was doing, I was analyzing it. Who is it coming from? What's their background? And is this true? Is there an opportunity in there for me to improve? So you just hear it. After a while, it just becomes noise. All of it's noise. When you are confident that you're being the best version of yourself, you learn to see the rest of it as noise. So negative criticism, you know what people call constructive criticism? People like to criticize you and tear you down and then say it's constructive criticism, or I'm doing it in love. It's coming from a place of love and wanting the best for you. After a while, it's noise. I don't hang out with people like that. I don't surround myself with people like that. You know what they're doing? What they want to do is draw attention to themselves. They're trying to tell you that if you become like me, then you won't have this problem. And especially they typically constructive. Look at you all. You all are listening to me because you know it's true. And typically constructive criticism comes when you're doing what? Say it. When you're excelling, when you're pushing past them. That's when the haters come out. You know what haters mean? Having anger towards everyone reaching success. That's what haters mean. Think about it. Having anger towards everyone reaching success. So if you are surrounded by a group of haters, it's actually a good thing. It tells you that you're doing something. But what you don't do is let them come into your personal circle. And then you keep it moving. So if they say anything, keep it moving. So, okay. I've learned to have a thick skin. Is that how you feel? Okay. And then in the meantime, I'm looking at the person to see, why do you say that? I'll tell you something. Last year, I was somewhere speaking, and I was being introduced. And after I was introduced, when everything was done and so on, this young lady was talking about me to someone else. And she said to the person, one thing you can count on, Harriet will show up, but she won't speak well. She actually said that. And the person whom she said it to was like, and I smiled. You know what she was trying to do? She thought if she said that she could affect me, but she was really trying to draw attention to herself. So at the next similar type event, they would ask her and not me. Me? I didn't listen to it. I was like, really? I mean, it could have really gone either way. I'm like, oh. A year later, I learned that she was no longer in the position. The company fired her. I'm not saying it's as a result of that. I'm just saying things happen. Do you see what I mean? And she ended up calling me too and asking me for some support and advice in moving forward. She ended up calling me. Yeah. Seriously. She ended up calling me and asking me for some support. and asking me if she goes out to do this, would I support her? And asking me for advice. You know what I did? What do you think I did? I did. Yes. I gave her the best that I could give her. Yes. Did it take anything off me? No. I prayed with her. I encouraged her. I said, you have my number. Feel free to reach out. It is what it is. I don't let the noise of the crowd or the roar of the crowd today influence me. I just keep it moving. And that's what I want for you. Be the very best. Because when she said that, I could have, no, I don't have time for that. I thanked everyone for inviting me and thanked everyone else who participated. Thank you all. It was great. I was humbled to be in your presence and I kept it moving. Right? Sometimes I do stand up for myself. If I feel that I'm being treated unfairly, you're going to hear about it one way or another. You may not like how it's delivered. You may not even like the words that come, but you're going to hear about it. If I feel that I'm not being treated the best that I should be treated, then you're going to hear. And oftentimes that's holding people accountable. And sometimes people don't like that. You see what I'm saying? But it depends. I only hold you accountable if we're entangled, if we have some sort of a relationship, whether it's a business relationship or a personal relationship. Outside of that, I don't owe you anything. You can feel whatever or do whatever. But if we're entangled emotionally or if we're entangled in business, then I hold you accountable to the standard, right? If I'm going to treat you the very best, then I expect that you're going to do the same. But you have to understand, who are you holding accountable to? If they're not worth the time and the effort, don't even bother wasting your time, right? The Bible says, don't cast your pearls before swine. Be very careful whom you divulge of yourself to. Be very careful whom you share yourself with. It's one of the things that I have done over time. And people say, well, she's this. Well, I was trying to preserve myself so that I don't end up crying all day because I'm so miserable with myself because people have so much to say. No, I don't have time for that. I enjoy my company. I enjoy my own company. I have way too much to do, way too much stuff going on. Life will always be full. I will always have a boatload of stuff to do. I keep myself busy. I don't have time for the negativity. In fact, if I start getting you out of my space, that means you are negative and are bringing negativity and I'm trying to get it out. I think that's how we should look at life. Do you see what I'm saying? So today, as of this day, commit to you. Commit to being the best version of you, in spite of what they say. Even if they're going to fire you, you might be facing that. There's all kinds of stuff going on. It could be ageism, it could be classism, it could be racism. Those are words that should never enter into your thinking. You should never think that you are worth less or make anyone else make you feel that you are worth less. You should always see yourself as being the best. And if someone tells you you haven't been the best, maybe examine it. Is there any merit to it? And adjust your behavior accordingly. Right? I gotta go. You know what time it is? I gotta go. So we won't have a broadcast on Thursday because I won't be here. I'll be in Lansing at an event. So I encourage you, take time out, go to youtube.com, Harriet Kamak, and view any of our previous broadcasts. Make sure you avail yourself of the resources available on harrietkamak.com. And as usual, go to the ExodusFoundation.com. Help us to do what we do in the community, providing services to victims of human trafficking and to victims of violence, right? Women and children are our focus, especially adult women who have been left homeless as a result of things that were external to their control. Thank you so very, very much. And today, be the best version of yourself. But look at it this way. If not today, you get another chance tomorrow. When you wake up tomorrow, you tell yourself, today is the day. Say it out loud. Today is the day that I start being the very best version of myself. I'm pointing at yourself. To you. You owe it to you. Right? Thank you so much, everybody. Be blessed. Have a great day. It's going to rain over here in Michigan. But hey, okay. At some point, we will experience real spring weather at some point. Thanks so much, everybody. Be blessed. Thank you. Bye, Facebook. Bye, Facebook. Thanks, everybody. I really am a privilege. Thank you so much, everybody. Be blessed. This has been great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much.